really want to address advertising on all these platforms to build up your personal brand. And that includes not only the social networks, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, but it's also Google AdWords. I mean, if you want to be the leading thought leader of the Michigan wine scene, buying Google AdWords for Michigan wines could be a tremendous thing and could really propel your world. As a matter of fact, one of the great regrets of my career was I didn't have really the dollars or wasn't smart enough to deploy more dollars on Google AdWords when Wine Library TV was exploding, and I could have won a lot of search terms and drove a lot of efficient traffic for a very low cost. One of my favorite things, and I'll go into arbitrage later, but let me just give you a quick idea I have. If you could sell sponsorship against your blog or against your podcast or your content, and then use those dollars to buy advertising to draw people into it, and then keep wheeling it as you get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, that's really the holy grail. And so let's break down the advertising platforms. At this point, you probably know Google AdWords. You've probably been to this thing called Google, you've probably typed something in, and you've seen the ads that are there. Now, you can't put wine, because that's expensive, but again, Michigan Rieslings is probably a word you can buy for a little bit, and Michigan Riesling videos is definitely a word you can buy for probably 10 cents and become the leader on that. So Google AdWords, I think, is a very viable thing for a personal brand. I think there's also Facebook. It's an incredible ad product. You can target to the lowest levels. I just couldn't be more bullish about it. I highly recommend it. It is the only place where you can get to the demographic and psychological level of targeting that takes somebody, and you can, I mean, the ability to become a micro celebrity using just Facebook is unbelievable. If you want to be the thought leader around pizza and you just use the data around people that are enthusiasts of pizza or fans of takeout places or other things of that nature, it's just stunning the power of that platform. Now, Instagram has basically now become the next place, and by the time you're watching this, is probably emerging to the level of, if not surpassing the level of Facebook, because you can use that same logic, as Facebook owns Instagram, to drive content on Instagram and be discovered in that environment, which I think is incredible and massively important, and something that is, with the attention and the way the ad product works and not as many ads in there, supply and demand dynamics, I think Instagram is incredibly, incredibly important. You deploy the Pinterest thing if you're looking for the female sector. I think that's a tremendous ad product. Again, search dynamics. And then there's really paying for advertising by buying native ads. If there's blogs or other places where you can do sponsored content. I don't want you to buy a banner ad. I don't want you to necessarily go that route. But if you can go the route of hitting up, again, I'm gonna beat this to death, if you're trying to be the beer leader, if you hit the 5 to 10 biggest beer blogs and ask them, can they write an article called a native ad that's sponsored by you? Can you spend $200 to write a piece of content, but that brings you awareness brought to you by your blog in their world, or your content, or you as a thought leader in there? These are really viable things. I do think, even though I have historically not been great at this, I do think YouTube pre-roll video can be powerful. I'm not a massive fan of it because I don't think they're there to see the ad, they're there to see the video, but it does bring an awareness play. I've seen some great numbers for it in times that I've used it for my content, so I would recommend it if you can find the right genres or the right accounts to do pre-roll videos around, and if you respect the audience. As a matter of fact, this is me going off the script, Andy, I want to do an account where I actually acknowledge it, and you say, hey, I know you're here to see something else, but let me just tell you about me. That is an interesting kind of segue as an early ad, and again, what you just saw happen there, and that was real life, was as long as you respect the audience, all of these ads can do well, but you have to bring them value. You can't steal their time.